have an exciting time today. So I know you've all received emails about DITCH. To start with, DITCH is just an acronym for Digital Innovations for Transitioning to a Circular Plastic Economy in Africa. Okay, and this is an inaugural conference. We've had a series of focus groups, we've had workshops, we've had webinars. So this is our first conference and it's for the whole day. So I'll just give you a quick background about the project. So we are a multi-sectoral interdisciplinary network. Okay, so we have partners from across sub-Saharan Africa, covering Eastern, Western, and Southern Africa. We have partners from academia, civil society, as well as innovation hubs. Okay, so these are some of our partners, and we have YoWaste, who are partners who are actually in the field. So this is us, but over time we've been expanding to get more network members. So what are we doing? So what we realize is that there are quite a lot of digital, people using digital tools to tackle the plastic management, waste management problem. And most of them, well, are doing fantastic jobs. And we just thought that if we can synergize our efforts, we could be able to do something much bigger. Okay, so how can we scale some of this? There's still lots of opportunities. We've been discussing with most of these people, and all of them agree that they are still very far from saturation. So we're trying to see how we can more or less accelerate this transition to a circular economy by empowering these people and seeing where the gaps are and what opportunities are and how we can plug those opportunities. And basically just a platform to come together. Okay, so that's one of the reasons what we are doing. So in terms of our aims and objectives, what we're doing, the first thing we're trying to do is to assess the strengths and weaknesses of digital innovations for the circular plastic economy. So we've been engaging with most of these leading organizations across the continent just to see what's going on well, what are the things that are not going on well, and from there we can identify opportunities to go forward. So synergy, how can we work together, what opportunities are there in terms of business models from an academic perspective, what policy recommendations do we need to make to be able to transition, okay? And then another important thing is to identify gaps, okay? So what we've realized is that most of the organizations that are in this space are operating in the recycle aspect, so collecting and recycling and the likes, okay? So, but in terms of the circular economy, there are other areas like reduce, reuse, all those sort of things. So what gaps are there and how can we use digital tools and innovations to bridge those gaps, okay? And then most importantly, we need to, it's still nascent, so we need to identify the landscape, what recommendations need to be made for policy changes, what research questions need to be addressed to be able to move forward and to actually make this a reality. So that's in a nutshell what we are doing. We've been on for just about actually exactly a year today. And so how are we doing this? We have been engaging and we continue engaging with different levels of stakeholders. So government agencies, government representatives, we've done that through focus groups and interviews, policymakers, you hear from some of them today, civil society organizations, startups. We've also engaged with investors and foundations, people on the floor, on the ground, waste management personnel, and the likes, as well as activists. So, as I said, we've opened the network to everyone that has something to contribute and wants to be part of the network, and we have over 300 members from across sub-Saharan Africa, and these are some of the countries represented. Okay, so we are funded by the UK Research and Innovation through the Global Challenges Research Fund. So that's why the United Kingdom is there, because the project is from the UK, and we are engaging across sub-Saharan Africa. So what is our approach very quickly? So our approach is in fourfold. Okay, so firstly, we are creating the network, okay, which we've been doing and still working on. We're managing knowledge, so very soon we'll be sending you emails about what we're doing in that space and what we're going to launch in the next few months to support these first two parts, okay? And most of you have already contributed to that. And then we're animating the network, so the workshops, the webinars, the conferences that we are doing, the conference we're doing today is just to animate that network to create that platform for people to engage and do that, okay? And finally, to share learnings, okay? So to disseminate the knowledge and to make sure that we are going forward, okay? So that's our approach. In terms of the way people can join us or can support the cause, so you can join the network. My colleagues will post the link right in the chat during the course of the program, and then we have a survey that we're using to engage people who are innovators in this space. Okay, so quite a number of people on this call have completed the survey, but if you haven't, my colleagues will share that link as well sometimes during the break, and then you can connect with us on social media just to have an idea of what we're doing and engage with some of the things we are doing. So that's basically some of the things you can do if you are interested in this whole movement. So basically, we understand there are a lot of things on the circular economy, but we're more or less a bridge between the circular economy and trying to get innovators. So if there are gaps, how can we get innovators to design to fill those gaps? So we're also working with all the networks and all the organizations. So we will be continuing discussing with people like the Africa Circular Economy Network, recycling associations like REN and the likes. So that's me. That's what I wanted to present in a nutshell. The conference is being streamed live on YouTube. People are joining also through Zoom. The hashtag for the conference is Ditch Conference, which was on my first slide. So if you can tweet away and take screenshots. Thank you. So I will pass on to my colleague, Dr. Kolade, who will tell us a bit more about the conference itself and why.
Thank you very much indeed, Muyiwa, for an excellent introduction, and even more so for the excellent, brilliant work you have done over the past year, leading this exciting project and building this vast network of stakeholders across the whole spectrum of industry, university, higher education, and the public sector. So thank you very much indeed. I will not take too much of your time. Welcome once again, everyone, to this exciting conference. We've been looking forward to this for quite a while, and it's great to have you all here. I just want to say a bit about, how the conference will run. The overarching logic of the conference is to bring all these stakeholders together, these, leading experts, scholars in various fields, related to the circular plastic economy, but also practitioners and policymakers as well, from various sectors and organizations to bring perspectives to these important themes. I mean, I have been to many conferences, as you would imagine. I'm sure many of you have been. And you have been to conferences where you have academic conferences where you have exciting scholars talking about the great work they've done. Some of them, is a work of a lifetime that they've done over many decades, and really inciting scholarly insight. But sometimes, academic conferences could have a feel of, scholars talking at themselves. But what we want to do with the inaugural plastic conference is something quite different. Of course, We need to hear the insight of these scholars who have dedicated a lot of their time over many years. But we also recognize the importance of engaging with practitioners who are the front liners, who are actually the one implementing a lot of these exciting ideas, but also not only in terms of implementing and using knowledge, they are actually also important producers of knowledge in their own right, as well as policymakers whose actions or inactions, their policy directions and interventions make such a big impact on the landscape in terms of how things get done and the impact that they make. So what we then sought to do, and which we hope we have tried to achieve, is to bring all of these stakeholders together. The scholars to talk about their research, insights, the practitioners to bring, their own perspectives, as well as government, national government, as well as multilateral agencies. All of this coming together as important co-producers of knowledge in this space, where we can all, hear different perspectives and be able to see how all of these are coming together. The synthesis, the synergy from all these, different perspectives. And that is why this conference is so exciting, because we have, all of these people coming together here today. And we have you as well as participants. So we have not just to be talked at or to be talked to. We like the session where in the Q&A, and we also have something down the line in the co-creation lab, where you can bring your own perspective and share new insights and generate new ideas on how we can move forward on this really important issue of the circular plastic economy in Africa. And so the conference is then organized in such a way that we have 3 main sections after the introductory session, which I'll come to in a moment. We have country case studies, where these practitioners from Nigeria, from Ghana, from Kenya, from Uganda, from Zambia, from Namibia, we'll be talking about what they are actually doing, the new ideas that they are implementing in their respective countries. And it also helps us to also see what are the country peculiarities, what are the nuances of implementing, of trying to get things done across different countries, with a view to see how we can synergize those different ideas and bring them together. So we have those country case studies, which will be led by our country leads across the 3 regions, beginning from West Africa to Southern Africa to Eastern Africa. And this is then followed by our second session, where we have the researchers, the experts, working across a whole range of topics, bring their insight, ranging from gender issues and digital innovation, things around 3D printing and the use of plastic waste to create new products. Things also around, microplastics and polymers and the implications of this for the plastic value chain in Africa. So we have those exciting, scholarly insights coming straight on after the country case studies. And finally, we have the practitioner and policy perspectives, which will be led by a seasoned expert from multilateral agencies such as United Nations Environment Programme, a national perspective as well, but also practitioner perspective from somebody who lead one of the exciting tech hubs on the continent. So this is quite a full package. We expect exciting package that would spare a very lively and productive discussions in the course of the day. And we encourage you to fully participate in this. You can post your comments on the chat while the sessions are going on, but also when we come to Q&A, and then when we come to the co-creation lab later on. So without saying too much, I will stop there for now. And I will now introduce the first speaker, who is going to bring us the welcome address. And that is Professor David Mba. Professor David Mba is the Pro-Vice Chancellor Research and Enterprise at De Montfort University. He's an inspirational leader who supported this project, especially over the past year and before, actually, even while it was in development. And he has done a lot to encourage exciting, innovative research in the university. Professor David Mba has worked across a wide range of universities in the UK, including Cranfield University, London Southbank University, and he has occupied senior positions such as Dean and Pro-Vice Chancellor. He is the author of more than 250 publications and an award-winning scholar and writer who won the Ludwig Mond Prize in recognition of the best contribution to the progress of mechanical engineering in the UK. He has also won the Lord King Norton Gold Medal for the most outstanding doctoral thesis when he completed his PhD many years ago. So we thank you so much, David, for your support for the project and for finding the time to be here with us today. And we look forward to hearing what you have to say to this exciting group of audience. Thank you so much once again, Professor David Mba, over to you.
Thank you, and very kind words, Shehu, and also thank you for opening the conference, and also to Muyiwa, and thank you to both of you for your fantastic work. Well, good morning, and good afternoon, depending on where you are regionally. A very, very warm welcome to the Ditch Plastic Conference. You know, how I very much wish we were all here in person. There's nothing better than speaking to a conference, you know, in a big room with great, wonderful, smiling faces. But we are where we are today. So first and foremost, a very warm welcome to the conference. Well, my university, De Montfort University, we're very proud to be leading this Global Challenges Research Fund project, which brings together more than 300 stakeholders across the spectrum of government, industry, civil society, and higher education sectors in more than 10 African countries. Ditch Plastic is just one example of the many high-impact transdisciplinary projects led by DMU researchers. And this type of exemplar project in particular is in line with our university ethos to drive innovation and cutting-edge research that challenges conventional thinking and generates new knowledge, ultimately with real and lasting impact on people's lives and well-being. Now, today we know plastic pollution has had a huge impact on the shores and across the cities of the African continent. And there have been numerous TV programs, newsreels that have highlighted this impact. I see this personally when I travel home to Nigeria, either going to my hometown or going to visit my sister, my brother, and driving across the country in Nigeria. And I look at the local rivers and I see the stain of plastic everywhere. In rivers where when I was growing up as a young boy, you know, going to play with my cousins in some of the local rivers. Now it's a complete eyesore. So I personally have seen this myself, and I'm sure as have most of the delegates who are here today. And according to the United Nations, approximately 4.5 million tons of plastics are found in oceans and seas off the coast of Africa every year. So that's 4.5 million tons every year, ultimately with severe consequences for aquatic life, the environment, and livelihood. And as Muyiwa and Shehu have already alluded to, one way of addressing this challenge is the circular economy, really tipped as a viable solution to tackling the menace of plastic pollution. Hopefully, creating new actors on the landscape who can harness opportunities to reuse, recycle, redesign, remanufacture, reduce, and recover plastics. Now, this conference absolutely is driving a very important and timely conversation about the role of digital innovation to accelerate the transition to a circular plastic economy in Africa. Hopefully, the outcomes from this project can be the game changer that turns the huge challenge into big opportunities for value creation, a cleaner environment, and inclusive and sustainable development. Speaking of sustainable development, there are a lot of opportunities or outcomes from this project that align to the SDG goals. I will just specifically mention one. Earlier on, I spoke about my own personal experience about the visible plastics in local rivers in Nigeria. That's just on the surface. What's the impact beneath the surface? And this absolutely ties in with global SDG 14, life below water. So the promotion of the circular plastic economy will not only contribute to removal and reduction of plastic waste, but ultimately influence mankind's ability for continuous survival by ensuring that the aquatic life is also secure. So speakers at this conference and the network itself, has embraced a co-creation model that brings you, the participants, into the forefront of a collective agenda to generate new ideas to tackle the plastic problem. So I strongly encourage you, please, to take full advantage of the question and answer sessions, as well as a dedicated co-creation lab to come up with new ideas along with the invited speakers. I thank you for your involvement and dedication with such an important project that aims to address a huge societal challenge today, particularly in Africa. Every day you spend on this project takes us a step closer to saving the coastal lines and livelihoods of thousands of people in our Africa. I most sincerely wish you the very best with this project, and I look forward to hearing about the fantastic outcomes over time. Once again, a very warm welcome from me. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you very much indeed, David, for that challenging speech and really inspiring speech, and welcome. And we look forward to the rest of the day with what our speakers have to say. So thank you so much once again, and we'll be keeping you posted. We hope you can hang around a few minutes. I know you're very busy, of course, but thank you so much again, once again, David. We will now move on to our next speaker, who is the Deputy Environment Commissioner at the Ministry of Environment, Forestry and Tourism in Namibia. Please join in welcoming Dr. Caroline H. Garros for a keynote speech. I hope she's there. Namibia is one of our key partner countries in this project, and you'll be hearing later on from our country lead, Dr. Selma Maldevo. But right now is time for a keynote speech. Dr. Caroline H. Garros. Is he there? I can see the spotlight is still on Professor Mba. He doesn't mind much. But do we have Dr. Caroline Garros there? Right, okay, Caroline is there. Can you please unmute yourself? Tolu and Tracy, if you can please unmute Caroline and Spotlighter. Thank you. Please bear with us. I think a bit of some technical. Okay, thank you so much.
Can you see me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. We can hear you and we can see you. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for inviting me. My name is Dr. Caroline Hermione Karuswas. I am the Deputy Environmental Commissioner at the Ministry of Environment, Forestry and Tourism in Namibia. Thank you for having me. Director of Ceremonies, Ditch Plastic Network, esteemed representatives from different countries, esteemed members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is my distinct honor and privilege to be with you today at this international conference on the digital innovation for circular plastic economy. Since this conference will look at how digital technology can be used to address the management of recyclable waste, mainly plastics, it has provided us with this great opportunity by bringing together different stakeholders from the political sphere, academia, and the waste management industry to deliberate and develop innovative solutions that can drive the circular plastic economy in Africa and across the globe. Waste management in particular is embedded in 8 of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. This is a clear indication of the importance and relevance of how initiatives such as Ditch Plastic Network can contribute towards the management and addressing of climate change. Ladies and gentlemen, the digital innovation for a circular plastic economy, in particular, this network and conference comes at a time when the world is still trying to address and reverse the impact of COVID-19. The pandemic itself could in fact have contributed to an increase in the production of waste globally. This is evident in the material used to produce rubber gloves, personal protective equipment, and other materials. As a result, we as environmentalists need to develop innovative ways to manage waste and implement strategies that embrace the digital sphere in management over a long time. Currently in Namibia, there is an underexploration of waste management opportunities and a circular economy that is able to eliminate waste, maximize value, and create space for job opportunities that allow for repurposing and reprocessing of plastic waste. In addition, challenges and opportunities exist in plastic waste management from a Pan-Africanist and national perspective, such as inadequate funding, transportation, and infrastructural development, which would accelerate creation of adequate formal waste collection systems and technologies for effective waste management. Ladies and gentlemen, an opportunity worth noting is that Namibia has implemented various national cleanup campaigns and awareness campaigns focused on the reduction and recycling of waste. As the Ministry of Environment, Forestry and Tourism, we will continue to strengthen awareness creation to effect behavioral change amongst our citizens around waste management, especially on the foundation of the youth. To achieve this, working with our industry partners and other relevant authorities have become imperative. As an example of digital innovation and environmental management, Namibia launched an online application system for environmental clearance certificates in 2019, which means that we have entered the digital transformation. Digital innovations make processes more rigorous, efficient, transparent, and client-friendly. We thus look forward to the expansion of such innovations, particularly in plastic waste management, to create a circular plastic economy. Ladies and gentlemen, this is but one of many lessons that can be drawn from Namibian experience to be explored by other institutions, including governments, academia, industry, multilateral agencies, and other organizations. I commend the industry, mostly local authorities and government ministries, more particularly for being involved in waste management and for their effective and efficient management of various waste, despite the challenges that we are facing today. Despite these difficulties and challenges we are facing as a continent in Africa and as a country ourselves, we need to always remember that invention and innovation are known to thrive during times of hardship. That means we need to continue developing, strengthening digital innovations and interventions to ensure that the lives of our people are imposed and improved through circular plastic economy. Ladies and gentlemen, in my conclusion, I would like to thank Ditch Plastic Network and its partners for the active engagement and collaboration with the Namibian government and other countries represented here. It is my hope that we will continue to share, exchange ideas, and further engage in our future collaborations. I thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you very much indeed, Dr. Caroline Garus. She is the vice chairperson as well of Nature Conservation Board and a member
Yes.
of the Water Regulator of Namibia.
Yes.
So we're very happy to have you, and we are pleased to hear about the great work you are doing in Namibia to move this conversation forward beyond just intellectual discussion to really practical efforts that you are spearheading along with your team in Namibia. So thank you once again.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, thank you very much. Okay, so we move on briefly to the next session, but I wonder whether we still have David here. Thank you for sticking with us this round. But there might be some opportunity for some any opportunity for some responses from the audience to the welcome address as well as the keynote speech before we move on then to our country case studies. So please, Tracy, I need you to help me there if there are comments there from the chat, or if there are any of the panelists as well who might want to make a comment or two, or perhaps ask a question or two from our welcome address from Professor David Imba as well as Dr. Caroline Garus-Urs. Any comments? It looks like our conference co-chair has something to say, or is that just me? Right, okay. Can you, maybe if I may just then try to bear the cat, since we have a few minutes and we have said that what we want to do in this conference is to really provide an opportunity for the audience to respond. Maybe I'll come to David first. To maybe if you can just tell us a bit more, because there will be some here in the audience who do not know much about the Montfort University and the kind of work we're doing with regard to the research activities as well as the overarching, agenda of the university and at the international level. Can you tell us a bit more about DMU? To some who may not know at all about the university and the kind of things that you have been driving over the past few years from the university.
Yes, okay. Thank you, Sharon. I will speak very briefly about the university because I think delegates will want to hear more about digital plastics and the work that's going on. So in terms of the university, we are a relatively large university of about 28,000 students. And we are an applied university in the sense that the majority of our curriculum and research is very much applied. We are one of the 17 global universities to be a hub for the SDGs. So we are the global hub for SDG 16. So that's why, I suppose in my welcome, I made particular reference to the SDGs, because that's very much part of not just our teaching curriculum, but the focus of our research. And this, Ditch Plastics absolutely sits within addressing some of those SDGs. In terms of the ongoing work across the university, we are exceptionally strong in digital research around cybersecurity, artificial intelligence. We are one of only 19 centers of academic excellence in cybersecurity research in the United Kingdom. So from a digital innovative perspective, from digital research, we are one of the strongest in the UK. There's lots more work going on, but I think perhaps that's sufficient overview for De Montfort University. I'm sure we can perhaps focus more on plastics and digital plastics. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Thank you so very much. I just wanted the audience to take advantage of the opportunity that we have Pro Vice Chancellor here, and there may be some we just want to know a bit more. So thank you so much, and that's really, really helpful response there. I can see one of our panelists wanting to speak. Before I come back to Dr. Caroline Garus-Oas in a moment. Yes, that is Ambassador Ayola Olukone. Yeah, you can unmute yourself and speak.
Hello, good morning, everybody.
Yes, good morning, we can hear you.
Well, thank you very much. First, let me say thank you for the invitation, and I'm indeed very glad that we're having this conversation. And I see that essentially what DMU is doing in this area is bridging the gap between town and GAM. I have a little bit of experience in terms of efforts like this. My involvement with environment issues, of course, started in 1988 when I served in the permission of Nigeria to the United Nations and the Brennan Report came to the UN. Hello? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we lost you for a moment, but yeah, please go ahead. Yeah.
Yes, okay. Well, when I served in the permission and the Brennan Report came to the UN, and of course, since 1988, I've been closely involved with it. I also, of course, went on to do postgraduate work in the area of international law and the trends and evolutions of environment issues. I was part of the Basel Convention on Hazardous Waste. I was also involved in the SICEM, the Strategic Approach to International Chemicals Management. And of course, I served in the permission of Nigeria to the UN in Nairobi, in Kenya. So I was part and parcel of the debate of the international environmental governance.
Okay, I think we've lost Ambassador Olukone again.
I am back. I'll round up quickly now. I am back.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Please, just a few seconds so that we can move on.
Yes. So I was in Nairobi. I was closely involved in UN work in this particular area, and including the plastic issues too as well. And so that's why, of course, I'm indeed very glad, as far as this is concerned, that we are walking the talk in terms of the whole crisis of plastic management. And we have a national policy, of course, on plastic waste management in Nigeria, and which, of course, implementation is the key, is the challenge. I serve now as the Director General of the Nigerian Association of Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Mines, and Agriculture. And so I will share later on in the afternoon what we are doing, because
all right. Okay, I think we just move on because of I think there's a connection problem there. I'm sure we have the opportunity to hear more from Ambassador Olukone further down the line today. Is one of the speakers. We are going to move on.
I'll do so later in the afternoon.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you very much.
So for the okay.
Yeah, thank you so much indeed. So we're going to move on now to session 1, but before we do that, I just want a quick comment from Dr. Caroline Garus-Oas. If you can please spotlight her again, the tech guys. If you can just tell us a bit about, as somebody who is working at the heart of government. So what do you think from your own particular, experience in Namibia? what is the impact and the role of government in bringing the other stakeholders together from research, from academia, as well as from industry to drive, this agenda forward for the circular plastic economy. So if you can just give us a few brief insight into what you're doing within the government of Namibia as a convener of stakeholders.
Yes, thank you very much for your question. We actually have various incentives that we are carrying out on a daily basis. We have cleanup campaigns that we carry out, national cleanup campaigns, that we carry out regional, local authority cleanup campaigns. We've also developed the national solid waste management strategy, which is actually looking at how to adequately dispose of waste and to also add value to waste through recycling and creating various value chains with the various sectors, be it local authorities or just the public in a whole, entrepreneurs. We've also come into collaboration with our one of our ministries, the Ministry of Finance, to establish a plastic levy, which will now come into be used as a sort of a fund to tap back into waste management, for example, with various enhances or advances to the infrastructure, and then also just basically advising in the various designs of the various landfill sites we have. At the end of the day, really, it's more to do with awareness and just enlightening the general public of what waste is. That although plastic is really durable and that it could last, basically it's biodegradable, but then it also really is not just an eyesore, but it is quite dangerous, especially to our wildlife, for example, in the park. So we enforce our regulations and laws wherever we found ourselves. We have banned the use of plastics in our national parks because the animals really confuse them as fodder and feed on those plastics, and it's really just terrible. And so we banned the use of plastics there. And every time someone buys something in the shops and they would like to put their groceries into plastics, that specific levy goes back to the Ministry of Finance, which now together with us will start implementing on the various incentives of how to better take care of our environment. I'm really just very grateful that we are invited on such a platform where we can continue sharing ideas and whatnot. And perhaps maybe what I should also add is that we are looking at basically ways of how to eradicate plastic completely because of the various reasons that I've mentioned. For those reasons, we are in the process of establishing various and implementing a national plan to ban the complete use of plastics in this country. And we are also a party to the Basel Convention, which is looking at the transboundary movements of hazardous waste, and we regard plastic as hazardous waste. So although right now, as we speak, recycling and reprocessing is on the table, in the future, we are looking at complete eradication of plastic. I hope that answers or your comments or gives some background or informed reasoning to your question.
Yeah, it does. Thank you so very much. Yes, those are very, really interesting comments and response that I'm sure will inform more conversations, perhaps debate, as the session goes, as we go along with the sessions today. So thank you so much once again, Dr. Garrison.
My pleasure.
Thank you indeed. We will now move on to session one. Yes.
Yeah, just because we still have a bit of time in this session, there are a few questions that have come in.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, so we might answer those questions.
Do you want to read them? Yes.
Yeah, so the first question is for Dr. Caroline. It says, Africa is embracing digital technologies fast. do you think that Africa will be able to implement a circular economy in the waste sector faster than other areas in the world?
Hey, yeah.
Am I unmuted? Well, we need to practice the Ubuntu culture in Africa itself. Africa is I mean, we can really, if we come together, we can create great milestones. It's really just a matter of collaboration and constantly sharing ideas of how we can establish this very monumentous platform. So it is really just for us to start dialogue and see how we can strategize and move forward with our various innovations and inventions. And I believe that Africa really can do this. I've got so much faith as a Pan-Africanist that we can really create or carry out what we put our heads to. And I hope that answers your question or adds to your comment.
Yeah, that's a very hopeful and very positive message. That's exactly what we need. We can. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Thank you so much. There's a question also for David, and it says, how do you see artificial intelligence playing a role in plastic waste recycling and raising awareness among citizens?
I think one should be a bit more.
So this question is for David, but yeah, Caroline, go ahead. You can give any brief response before we get to David. Yeah,
I think maybe I should unmute myself. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay. Thanks. What are you on now?
Shall I?
So this is a question about artificial
intelligence. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Absolutely. I'll give you a view. So AI, artificial intelligence is very effective when it has data. So the key thing to have benefits from artificial intelligence is having data, and that data in terms of includes where the waste has come from, and the patterns of behaviors of the way that the waste is being disposed. So if for example, we had data in terms of the usage of, for instance, plastics, AI could help identify which regions and perhaps which areas, and possibly offer information as to the rationale for why there's significant plastic use in a particular region, for example. So AI, as long as it has data, as long as it has information on the chain from the purchase of plastics, even from the manufacturing of plastics to the consumer, once you have that kind of data, then AI can find patterns that identify behaviors. And in doing that, it automatically then raises awareness of usage and of behavior. So AI absolutely has a role to play, but it's predicated on having information and data. Without the data, there's not much it can do.
Thanks so much. Thank you so much, David. That's very insightful comment there. This has to be data driven, and that is why we are conducting a survey at the moment at different times during the course of the day. The link to the survey will be posted, on the chat. So please be part of this data driven approach to accelerating transition to the circular plastic economy in Africa by offering us your perspectives and views by completing the survey. It will not take you more than 5 to 10 minutes or so. So thanks once again. I think I can see the floor is really buzzing with a lot of response and engagement, and that's exactly what we want. But I think we're also aware of time. We are keeping an eye on time very closely. There will be a lot of opportunities for these to address these questions in the course of the day. But I think we probably should move on now to session one, right, Muyiwa? Okay, right. So we're going to move on to session one. Don't worry. Some of those questions and comments, you can keep them coming. We are going to address them at some point in the course of the session. Our admin and tech guys are helping to compile some of the questions that we have not yet responded to as of now. We are now going on to the exciting country case studies. Now, I say exciting because there are just a lot of different things happening across, different parts of the country. And we are going to take, a kind of a regional approach to it. We're going to start from the west, and then we go over to the south, and then we come to the east. So we are starting from Western Africa, where our regional lead, Dr. Victor Odumoyiwa, is standing by to provide a perspective on what is happening. And he would also, Dr. Victor Odumoyiwa is our country lead and is a senior lecturer at the University of Lagos, where he's also the acting director of the National Information Technology Development Agency, the ICT Hub. And his expertise cuts across user information behavior, collaboration systems, and knowledge management, as well as the experience of managing several digital innovation projects. So the floor is yours now, Victor. You have 10 minutes. And after this, we are going to listen to Olufunto Boniface, who is one of our digital innovators doing exciting stuff in Abuja, Nigeria. And she will be followed by Makafui Awoko, who is another one of the exciting innovators we have. And then finally, we have Mercy Ukono, who is also doing great stuff as the founder of Recycle Point. So over to you, Victor, for presentation.
Okay, thank you. Can you hear me, Shim?
Yes, you are on. We can hear you. You are on.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Shim, for the introduction. And I'd like to thank the speakers that spoke ahead of me and for the welcoming address, the keynote speech. Thanks so much. Yeah, just a quick brief about what is happening in West Africa. And I'm just going to mention some few cases, but we're going to have, the players themselves, 3 of them, I'm going to talk about what they do and how they are innovating around plastic waste management in West Africa. And in West Africa, we have about 16 countries in West Africa. So first of all, let's see from the UNEP, we can see that about 13% of the municipal solid waste generated in Africa is plastic. And unfortunately, even though the report also says that 70 to 80% of those waste could be recycled, but only 4% are being recycled. And so that shows that we still have a long way to go and to save our planet and also to create an environment, a good environment for ourselves in Africa and West Africa in particular. Yeah, so key players in the plastic waste in West Africa, several of them, I've just mentioned them and not go into details about what they do. I'll just pick a few of them and talk about what they do. But I mentioned some of them. We have the MIRA project, we have MIRA Mindful Intelligent Recycling Assistant, we have the Sports Green, we have the Katani Social Recyclers, Green Hill Recycling, Trashmonger, Com Recycle, Green Tech Bionics Ventures, Scarpace, Recycle Gab, Recycle Points, Recycland, Oku Eco, Trash to Cash, Eco Future, Chanjadati, then Waste Bazaar, Givo. Some of them we've interacted with them. And like I said, 3 of them also will be telling us what they do. And Recoplast, and Viola, Colibar, Reaval, Easy Waste. There could be some others that we're not able to get, but these are the ones we are familiar with, and they do different things and in terms of managing plastic waste in West Africa. Yeah, so, well, I'll focus more on some of the ones I have here, but the first 3 here, the Recycle Point, Chanjadati and Macintosh are going to present later. So the columns were presented in the columns here, we have key players from 4 countries. Nigeria, the first columns for Nigeria, The second column is Ghana. The third one is Cote d'Ivoire, and the last one is Senegal. And so later on, we'll listen to two of these companies in Nigeria and also one from Ghana. Let me just say generally, what we've seen generally among them, those that are using digital innovation, we've seen the use of SMS, for giving information and also for kind of linking waste collectors to those that are managing the waste. We've seen also use of mobile apps. Some are using mobile apps, not so many of them, but quite a few number of them are using mobile apps. And that makes it easier for the collectors to communicate with the aggregators and also with the recyclers. Then we've seen also use of web application, and we also see the use of artificial intelligence and Internet of Things, but just very few, and even not well developed as of now. But I believe with this platform, and as we move on, we're seeing more other innovations coming in. So let me just talk about a few of them. So Koliba is in Cote d'Ivoire and as well in Ghana. So they use web application, and mobile apps, and SMS, and they use the mobile app to schedule plastic waste. Sorry, excuse me, let me just minimize this thing. Okay, to schedule plastic waste pickups, and they map the users to the closest waste picker. So that means you can easily know who is close to you that can come and pick up your waste. So when you want them to come and pick up your waste, you make a request, and the pickers that are close to you can actually be mapped to you, and they get the waste from you. And so they also use the app to report piles of rubbish. So that means people can kind of scan and send piles of rubbish they see around, and they will be able to link collectors to those, because by the time they are sending the pictures is geolocated. They have all the coordinates, and they can actually send collectors to collect those piles of rubbish. And another thing they do is that they teach users how to properly separate waste, which I think is very important, because if the waste are separated from source, it reduces the work of all the players. So the app teaches users on how to separate waste for efficient processing. And from statistics, they're able to recycle 5,000 tons of plastic in 2019. Another interesting one is Mira, Mindful Intelligence Recycling Assistant. And so it uses natural language processing, an aspect of artificial intelligence, to try to kind of interact with users. So they engage in natural conversation with users on what and how and where to recycle plastic waste. So kind of making it look more natural to them, trying to understand what kind of waste they want to recycle, where to go to, and what to do. Now that one is Okweko, which is also an app, and it uses image recognition to educate households about recycling, and also link them with merchants who can trade their waste for cash credit.